Good evening! How is everyone? Hope you're fine. Once again it's cold in here, isn't it always? Today I'm going to do the front brake. Take it off, clean it, service it, put it all back together again. Show you how to do it properly. Okay, so we'll just, I'll stop you there and I'll get set up. Brembo front caliper, most Brembos are the same. There is different variations, but they're mostly just about the same. Along here is the ABS line. Goes to the ABS ring on the wheel. It's just these two here to take the caliper off. Before you do anything though, you need to get the pin out. There's a pin here, right across here, that holds the brake pads in. That's the pin you need to get out. Now, if you're lucky, it'll come out without a fight. If not, like I said in the previous caliper one, you're going to have one hell of a fight. You're going to fight with it. So, we shall see. There you go. Fortunately, my pin's coming out nicely. It does help to loosen the rust on it and all the crap that goes with it. Don't force this sort of stuff in. Right, that's the pin. Let's get it out. Improper use of tools. Don't you love it? And the pin's still not. Oh, hang on, yeah, I've got it. There you go. One pin looks a hell of a state. When that was put in, there was copper slip around that, and it was shiny. So that just goes to show you how much crap goes in them pins. Now that I've got this out, I can take the caliper off. The biggest thing with these whole Brembo brake systems is this pin. To get this pin off, rest is easy. So, let's get this off. First the ABS sensor. Sort this out. I don't know whether you can see on it, but there is quite a bit of rust on that. So I'm going to have to sort that out. Get the sensor out. Wow, look at that. And that's just salt. That's just rubbish crap. Blimey. Right. Don't be yanking on this. There you go. Yeah, it's out the way, look. Next we have these two. These are reverse Torx sockets. They are kind of special. The key to this is to get the socket right in. So it's a good purchase. Wiggle it, make sure it's fine. There you go, here's one. There you go, there's two. As you would imagined, these will have copper slip on them. There you go. Doesn't hurt. Some people put thread locker on, or glue, you know what I'm on about, thread lock. Let's get this out. Now, when you're pushing it that way, be mindful of your rim here. I don't know whether you can see that far in. Yes, you can. Just move you across. There you go. Yeah, be mindful of this, because you'll be pushing that and it'll go poof, straight onto your rim, and you don't want to do that. So both hands, nice and slow. It's there that you're going to go poof, straight onto your rim. There you go, and that's that. That's the pads fallen straight out. Now, let's see if you can see these. Yes, you can. You see these lines? That's your wear indicators on the pads. Once these pads get down below this little cutout, time to renew them. But as you can see, these are absolutely fine. They're in good condition. In fact, they're in great condition. Quite happy with that. I'm going to be putting some masking tape on them. Notice I'm handling them on the outside, not on the in. So I'm just going to put some tape on them. They're in tape, and nothing can hurt them. Excellent. Now, for this caliper, I need to bring you up a bit actually. So I'm just checking the general look of the caliper. It looks alright. Yeah, it's fine. Now don't go twisting this. I know it's a braided line, but don't go bloody nuts on it. Just have a look at the seals. I don't know whether you can see them. Let's have a look. Can you see it? Yeah, you can see them. Everything looks absolutely hunky-dory in there. Very nice. I'm going to take, this is what you call the carrier. There, look. This is the carrier. It's what, look, when the brake squashes the disc, this moves forwards and back, look. So I'm going to be taking that off and just putting some new grease in. Now these things are susceptible to splitting, so don't go nuts on them. Here's one. Come on. There you go. There's two. So boot that side, boot this side, and this will come off. They're not in bad condition actually. Looking at it. Yep, not in bad condition. Boot looks alright. Yeah, looks fine in there. That looks nice. Yep, like it. So I just need a bit of red rubber paste, or whatever people are calling it now, rubber grease, etc, etc. Now if you was going to put new pads in, these pistons you'd have to push back in. It's not really clever for the master cylinder. The master cylinder likes to go one way, push fluid one way, not t'other. So just take it easy if you were. But I don't think so, I don't need to. Now normally I'd say don't hang these, support them. But if you're just doing a very quick work on them, I don't suppose it hurts. Just don't let them hang for bloody hours. Now I've got some red rubber grease, which comes in a pot. Just going to take a little bit, about that. inside my boot. And that way you know your sliding pins will slide all day long. Next, again, a little bit of paste. Not too, you don't have to go crazy with it. You know, just enough. There you go. Onto the caliper. Onto this boot here, which is in the middle of the two pistons. In there. Work it round, if you can get the bloody thing in. Come on, go in. Thank you. Work it round. Easy enough done. Time to put the carrier back on again. I'm just inspecting the... yeah, it's fine. So the carrier just goes straight back on. Very, very easy. Don't go forcing it. It's got a home. It knows where it wants to be. Just gentle. Gentle, gentle. There you go, look. Happy with that, see? So now you've got to get these rubbers. I'll get you a close up. I think you can see it from there. Still covered in grease. This is the rubber end. And you see this little lip? This lip here? The end of the rubber needs to go over this little lip. So it's going to take a little bit of jiggery and pokery to do that. A little bit of lubrication. And if you can see, it's on. So that one's oh, nicey, nicey, nicey. Next one. It's exactly the same again. A little bit of lubrication. You just merely help to push it over. Don't hurt the rubber. It would help if I could see what I was doing. There you go. Hang on. Let me get a bit of cloth. Wipe it all up. And this one. So that's the pins. Sliding pins. Relubed, installed, relubed, and just had a check, and look, beautiful. And that's exactly what you need on your brakes, because the caliper on these is not a floating caliper. This is what floats. Important, that moves in and out really freely. Okie dokie, and I do believe that's about it. So we need to, yep, that's about it. One thing you need to look out for on these is, I mean, obviously don't get any grease on here, anything on there, leave it as it is. Let me just show you. This is the edge that sits on the caliper. As you can see, there's a witness mark there. Just make sure there's no crap around here. Make sure it's nice and clean. At least that way it will go in nice and smooth, if you can see it. Yeah, I think you can just there. This bit here. That's where the pads sit on. You know that witness mark I was saying? That's where the pads are. Now you don't want the pads to seize up with crap. So you just put a tiny bit of copper slip where the pad sits. That's it, the end, no more. A tiny bit of copper slip on here. And you don't go nuts, I mean, it's just literally a bit of copper slip. That's it. And that will stop them from rusting and seizing in place. Some people find this tricky, I find it quite easy. There they go in. On their leading edge. And the pin goes in. It's quite easy. But before we do that, I'm just going to clean the pin up, because as you can see it's just manky. Now don't get a bit of 40 grit, etc, etc, Stanley knife and go nuts on this. This is a precise measurement. Don't go bloody crazy with something really harsh and remove the diameter of it. If need be, get a little bit of 800 and lightly sand it, very lightly sand it, so that you get all the crap off it, because it will be covered in gunk. I've got a brass brush, and that's all I'm going to do with it. All I'm doing, just lightly rubbing the pin and getting all the crap off it. That's the pin ready. Lovely jubbly. Now let's have a look at this. 90% of why people have real trouble with these Brembos is because the pin seizes in there, in this hole. Because the pin goes in and gets locked in and you can't get it out because it's seized, it's rusted in. 90%. It's all about this pin. So all I'm going to do is get me copper slip, and copper slip that up. Wipe off the excess, and in there, in that tiny little hole, there, you can see it there. There is copper slip in there, and it won't rust. Once again, this is the other side of the pin. Just a little bit of copper slip in there. And once again, wipe off the excess. Done. Get your pen. Get your pin on standby. Get your pads. Squeeze them together. Don't be scared of it. And push it up until they seat. You'll know as soon as it happens. You'll feel it. That's them seated. They're not going to go anywhere. There's also a spring at the bottom here. That's to stop them. It's just a rattle spring. Right. One pin, one hole, goes through. Use a little bit of pressure on your thumb. Like push it down, wiggle it if need be, and that pin will go straight in. Just like that. And there should be a hole on this shaft. You know, on this long pin there'll be a hole, but at the moment the hole I reckon is about there. So this pin needs to go more in. It's just a gentle tap, don't go nuts. Hear the difference? Started off hollow, now it sounds solid. So there's the pads, they're all correct in. And I don't know whether you'll be able to see it in this light, but the pinhole's there. It's exactly where the pinhole is. Now before I go any further, I must admit I always do. I don't know whether I should or not. I just do. On the pins, where they make contact with the pads, I just like to put a little bit of copper slip there, just to stop it from rusting on the pin. Not a fucking great deal, not a bloody great big dollop, just enough to stop it from rusting. You probably don't need to do this. I just like to. Because at least that way I know, well, two schools of thought. Because it's grease, it's going to attract dirt. The dirt's going to get in it, act like a paste. Or, it's going to stop it from rusting and stop it from seizing. That's the two different schools. Personally, I don't like anything seized. There you go. Right, now from a pin. Now this pin sits against that area there. I can see the hole. Just. Might need pushing in a bit more. Love these. Can't live without these. So, I've moved the hole round. And I don't know whether you'll be able to see it, but the hole's just there. And that's it. That stops the pin going out. It's lubricated nicely. I like it. Make sure that you've got a clean screwdriver or implement, and just make sure the brakes are spaced out. Make sure they're happy where they're sitting. Next, line it up gently, because when you push this you will be moving the pads. and then you'll be taking it off, adjusting the pads, putting it back on, taking it off, adjusting the pads, putting it back on. So just carefully line it up with the pad, and it goes straight on. Easy bloody peasy. This copper slip on that, I've put it on in the past. Don't put shitloads on like I have. Ideally, I think you put thread lock on. In fact, I think that's what I'm going to do. So I've got 90% of the copper slip off that. It's just I don't want them seizing. That's one. Get me other... where is it? There it is. Copper slip again. Clean all that off. Yeah, you should really thread lock these. I just don't like the idea of thread lock. And there we are. The torque to do these up, I would imagine, is about 20 Newton meters. It ain't a lot. It's not a lot. So, make sure you can see it. Yeah. Once again, get a good purchase on the bolt. Keep purchasing on the bolt. Would help find it right in the right way. So I've got a good purchase on the bolt. And that's where it stopped. 20 newtons. That's it. Ready? And that's it. But of course you should really use a torque wrench. Put the ABS back on. Don't go mincing with this wire, it's not very strong. So now I shall adjust your. As you can see, there's salt and corrosion all around that. So just wipe it off. I'm not going to put WD-40, ACF50, anything like that on this. Just make sure it's nice and clean. No lubricant. It goes in just like that. The bolt holding it on needs a bloody good clean. I'm going to clean this, I'll come back. It's just an ABS ring, it's not critical, so I'm going to put the tiniest, don't know whether you can see it, it's the tiniest amount of copper grease on that. Just to stop it seizing. It should go straight in. There you go. I was going to say, why aren't you going in? Right, it's done up, so it's done up what I call finger tight. Yep. How much torque do you need on it? Not a lot. There you go, that's it. That's that done. Now I'm looking at this in here and I'm wondering what I'm going to do with it. Don't know.